Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Today, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I wanted to come in for a second to give you some perspective on some things that are happening in the world. What's up, everybody? I am hashtag B1. Hashtag B1 means that on this platform, we are Black first, Black before we're anything else. And so if you agree with that philosophy, then put your hashtag B1 in the chat. Let me know that you're hashtag B1 so we can have an intelligent conversation. This is a platform for intelligent Black people. This is not a platform for ignorant people. If you are not Black and intelligent, you may want to get the fuck out because you're not going to enjoy this conversation. So today I want to actually talk a little bit about something that I've addressed some of this before, but I want to actually kind of chime in a little bit because there's a little bit of dialogue going on, and sometimes you need grown folks in the room to square things away. Candace, Owens, and Cardi B. Candace Owens and Cardi B are in this crazy beef. Candace Owens is basically Donald Trump's little black flunky, and Cardi B is the rapper who loves teaching little 7-year-old girls how to suck a man's penis. Well, basically, Candace did a call out. She called out Cardi B for this interview she did with Joe Biden. And I don't know if any of y'all saw the interview, but it was kind of ridiculous. It was really rehearsed, contrived. It made me really wonder, honestly, that whether or not she is cooperating with the government because she's trying to stay out of jail. I'm not kidding. I'm really thinking about this because if you recall, about a year ago, Cardi was facing some jail time for something that went down, at a bar. She got mad, beat some girl up for looking at her man or something. I don't know. Apparently her WAP's not good enough to keep her man's attention, right? So her man, was checking out somebody else's WAP because, WAP costs about $5.45 these days because they selling it cheap on the internet. You have a problem. You have an oversupply of WAP, which is pushing down the value of your WAP. So Cardi B's WAP apparently wasn't good enough to keep her man's attention. So there was some lady that was talking to her man. She decides to do what any rational Black woman does, which is to hit the girl upside the head or throw a drink at her or punch her in the face, whatever they do on reality TV, because they're degrading your culture. Let's just be clear. They're degrading your culture. They're making you look like a bunch of monkey-ass minstrel shows to the world. But some of y'all think this is okay. Some of y'all think this is good. Some of y'all think this is Black culture, y'all. This is Black. You're keeping it Black, Black excellence, y'all. Right? Seriously. But so Cardi was facing time for this. I remember reading it and said, "Ooh, she's in trouble. This is gonna be bad." And then you had Tekashi. I remember Tekashi, the most famous snitch in the world, right? He's on trial and he's mentioning gang members and he mentions Cardi's name. Cardi probably has legal problems. That's my point. So here's the thing: the deep state is really deep. COINTELPRO is real, right? The FBI, CIA, NSA, all those organizations really do exist. And when they tend to control certain Black people, they pick the ones that are the most vulnerable. So when I saw Cardi B do her interview with Joe Biden, I couldn't help but wonder, was this a quid pro quo? Was this a trade-off, right? But I know Cardi, she raps about how she normally trades WAP. Like you give her like $12 in a cheeseburger, she'll give you some WAP. But instead of trading WAP, I was wondering if she was trading pop. Instead of WAP, she was trading pop. Pop as in popularity that comes from pop music, right? So Cardi's popular, right? I don't know how many Instagram followers Cardi has, but I bet it's about 50 million, 100 million, 80 million, something like that. Enough to turn an election. And I wonder if that interview was based on them sort of putting the vice grips on Cardi a little bit and saying, if you do this interview, you'll get some favorable treatment from future President Biden. I don't know. Give me a yes or no if you think that that's possible. Remember that most of the, back when the Black Panthers got took down and stuff like that, and they had agents that were in there kind of disrupting the movement, Most of these people were people, they weren't like CIA agents and FBI agents, all of them. A lot of them were like people that had been arrested where they said, oh, well, you know, you don't want to go to jail? Well, just sign here and we can make all your problems go away. Right? All you got to do is go and give us some information. Right? So that's what I thought about when I saw Cardi's interview with Joe Biden. And what was fascinating was that the interview was completely inconsistent with Cardi's brand. Cardi's brand is wild, crazy. She sticks out her tongue a lot, right? Like just kind of out there, out of control. Like I'm just gonna lay it out there and tell it like it is. Like when she was confessing about drugging men so they can be set up to be raped by trannies, which by the way should be a felony. If she were a man, she'd be in prison for that. But she's a woman, I guess, and her victims were black males. Then I guess that doesn't matter to anybody. Well, Cardi is that wild, crazy chick. She's the one who tells it like it is, right? But on the interview, that wasn't the Cardi B that I saw. On the interview, I saw a Claire Huxtable. I saw Cardi with her makeup well done, and she wore a nice little suit that you could probably wear to church or something. And she was asking these questions that were about as rehearsed as any movie in Hollywood. I mean, she almost like she was reading from a script. She literally hit all the Democratic Party talking points. Well, Mr. Biden, I mean, it's really hard out here as a single mom. I wonder what benefits you have for working mothers. I would really love it. Yesterday when I was selling WAP in the club, I was thinking it would be great to have universal health care, right? like she's really like going down the checklist. And I thought about that. And I said, this is interesting. This is a complete contrast to the interview with Charlemagne the God, where Charlemagne made the mistake of showing some sort of black intelligence, right? He actually challenged Biden, and you saw Biden got pissed off. Biden got pissed off when he said, well, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, that's translated to, you Negroes belong to me. Like, how dare you buck up on me and ask me a question that I shouldn't have to answer? I ain't got to answer the shit. Right? That's literally what they're translated to. So Candace is right to call out Cardi B. I think that was epic. I think it's awesome. I think Cardi B's mad because Cardi B knows she got busted on her shit. Cardi B knows that interview was a big pile of stinky, fly-infested, smelly, hot shit. That's what that interview was. It was garbage, worthless, nothing. It appeals to stupid people. That's why they interviewed her. That's what it was. And that also is a reflection of how they feel about your people. They feel that you are so dumb that we can get your vote. We can get your support from your community by finding the most ratchet, ridiculous, ignorant ass people that have big platforms, interview with them. And when they give the seal of approval, we'll get the black vote for free. Fine. Anybody who doesn't agree or anybody who sees it in a different way, I can't help you, right? Jesus can help you or something, but I can't do it. Now let's flip over to Candace Owens. Candace Owens is smart. Candace Owens is a lady that has some ideas that make sense. Here's the problem with Candace Owens. Candace Owens, if you listen to her speak, everything she brings up, she is an expert at tapping into all of the talking points for anybody that is pissed off with the Democratic Party. Like, she can tell you, she's like your girlfriend that'll sit in your ear and tell you all day that about what's wrong with your man, why you shouldn't take that girl, and let me tell you, oh my God, if he did that to me, I wouldn't allow that, right? She's all up in your ear, and you know what I'm talking about, ladies. You got to be careful when you got a friend who does stuff like that, because chances are 8 times out of 10, about 8.2 times out of 10, that woman is telling you those negative things about your man because she's trying to fuck your man, right? Or if she's talking to your man, then, she's trying to get him to come to the other side. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe, oh wow, your girlfriend did that to you? Oh my goodness, oh wow, well, you can talk to me as long as you want. Oh, I would never do that to a man. Oh, that's such a terrible thing. Oh my God, she did what? Right? Next thing you know, she got the man, right? So Candace is the one who will either get in your ear and tell you how bad your man is, or she'll get in your man's ear to tell him how bad you are because she wants to get with your man, right? So Candace Owens is an employee of Donald Trump. Let's just be clear. Candace Owens is an employee of Donald Trump. And the reason I refer to the Candace Owens Cardi B beef as a plantation fight is because this fits with the age-old Negro tradition of black people taking each other out in public in a lot of cases because they believe that the white man I work for is better than the white man you work for. My master is better than your master. My boss is better than your boss, right? I think that this is something that you just have to see. I'm not telling you which side of this to take. I'm not telling you how to view this entirely, but it's a plantation fight because Candace Owens will make quite valid arguments, for why the Democrats suck, why the Democrats don't respect black people, why the Democrats feed off of black ignorance. They live off black ignorance. They feed off of that. They want you to stay as ignorant as possible because ignorant people don't demand anything. Ignorant people don't stand up for themselves. Ignorant people can't fight back. Ignorant people don't actually move the needle, right? So Candace is 100% correct on all of that. And she's also good. She's an excellent Negro naysayer. Because a Negro naysayer, we've talked about the Negro naysayer before. The Negro naysayer is the person who always finds a problem for every solution. They're also the person who's very good at destroying something, but they're not very good at building anything, right? So they'll tell you what's wrong all day long, but they can never tell you how to make it right. Right. So Candace will say, the Democrats, they don't respect the black vote. The Democrats, they feed off of ignorance. The Democrats would rather interview Cardi B than to interview an intelligent black person. Right. And then what does that lead to? Well, it leads to, but Donald Trump is wonderful. I love Mr. Trump. Right. I'll never say anything about Mr. Trump. Well, of course you're not, because you're the new Omarosa. You're being paid indirectly from the popularity that you're being given by the Trump administration and by the Republicans. They are hoisting you up because you are serving their needs. Does that make you a bad person or a stupid person? No, I don't think Cardi's a stupid person for being a Biden flunky. I just think that it's important for you to understand where they're coming from and what their incentives are, and that their incentives don't have to be your incentives, that their decisions don't have to be your decisions. Let's just be clear. Cardi benefits tremendously from doing that bullshit interview she did with Biden. Cardi gets mad support. Now all her criminal issues are going to go away because somebody can make a phone call to Joe Biden's office, especially if he gets elected. So she benefits. So it makes sense for Cardi to do a bullshit interview. Who knows? I mean, think about it. Yes or no? Give me a yes or no in the chat. If you were facing felony time for some bullshit you did where you slapped a chick in a bar, and they're talking about sending you to jail, and then you got RICO charges possibly in New York. I mean, in New York, they're known for sending people away for decades on RICO charges. Wouldn't you go ahead and do a bullshit interview if that's going to make all that go away? Give me a yes or no. I would. I'd be like, what you need me to say? Who you need? That's why I stay out of that situation. That's why I don't do shit like that, because when you do stuff like that, you make yourself vulnerable, right? So Cardi is not a leader in that regard. She can be a leader in hip hop because I think she's a good rapper. Some of y'all don't agree, but I think Cardi B is an excellent lyricist, actually. She just raps too much about selling her pussy. I think that that's not good for children. But then again, maybe I'm the weirdo. Maybe I'm old fashioned. I think that maybe 7-year-olds shouldn't hear songs about how to deep throat a banana. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, that's toxic masculinity. I'm undermining your right to be a strong feminist woman because you want every little girl to have the chance to be a prostitute. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but whatever. But you're not gonna get me to that side. I'm not going to that side of evil because I got daughters, man. I got daughters. I'm a grown ass, fully healthy adult male, and I can appreciate everything that there is to appreciate about a black woman's body. That is a wonderful thing, but I do not on any planet want little black girls to be exposed to these things before they're ready to be exposed to these concepts and ideas. And as a person who lives in Chicago, who has seen little girls sexualized early, who end up dating R. Kelly at the age of 12 because they think they're ready for that, I personally believe we as a community should take responsibility for how we're rearing these children. If you agree with me, please say yes in the chat so I know that I'm not alone, because I swear to God, sometimes being a black person that commits to common sense and intelligence is the loneliest fucking position in the world. You literally feel like, my God, I'm living on the wrong planet because people have lost their damn minds. It's like an episode of the fucking Twilight Zone where everybody's doing one thing and you're doing something different and you're like, what is going on? I don't understand. That's how it feels sometimes when you live in a world with nothing but zombies. You live in in a zombie world where people have been zombified by media to think that anything goes as long as it's popular. And I'm gonna hopefully help lead the rebellion. Right? I'm okay with leading the rebellion to say no to this nonsense. We are not anti-WAP. We're not anti-Cardi. We're not anti-hip-hop. We're not anti-sex. My God, who would want to be anti-sex? Sex is a lot of fun. But I am anti the molestation of children. I don't believe that we should allow mass marketing media, particularly Apple Music, Spotify, and other entities, to molest the minds of your daughters so that they can grow up wanting to be strippers and hookers by the age of 12 or 13 years old. Because Cardi is not just a good lyricist and a great stripper, and obviously maybe her WAP is noteworthy, I don't know, but she also is a Pied Piper. Cardi is a Pied Piper of other hoes, like extreme hoes that want to be mainstream. Like she's helping all her girls become mainstream, like she's pulling them in. Did anybody remember this? Tell me this if you saw the interview where that one lady was on there talking about, you know, I liberate a lot of hoes. I liberate a lot of hoes. Anybody remember that? Yeah, she said, I liberate a lot of hoes, and she said, fuck these self-respecting ass hoes. She literally said, fuck these self-respecting ass hoes. And you go to this lady's Twitter. I didn't know who she was, but you go to her Twitter and you Google her. I Google everything. I Google everybody. I read people's Wikipedia pages because I'm a researcher. I like to understand what I'm talking about. I looked this lady up. This lady is a hoe, a hooker. She's a prostitute. Like she had this white man next to her that looked like her pimp. It was Sookie. She had a dude next to her. Maybe he wasn't her pimp, but I saw hooker hoe. And then I went 2 steps, literally 2 entries down on her Twitter page. There is an image of her laid on the ground, legs spread out, playing with her, you know what, playing with her clitoris. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God. So we're introducing this. So this is what's next. Like we're introducing this to children. There's nothing wrong with playing with yourself. But why are you doing that on Twitter? Why do we have to have little girls seeing this crap on TikTok? Seriously, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm not on any level seeking to undermine anybody's sexual expression and sexual freedom. Half y'all in here are probably freaks. Like if you're a freak, admit it. Come on, don't stop lying, right? And that's okay. It's okay to be a freak. But it's like some things, it's like taking a shit. Everybody shits, right? We know everybody takes a shit. But when you're taking a shit in public and telling everybody about your shit and what it looked like and what it smelled like, that's disgusting, man. That's absolutely disgusting. Like nobody wants to hear about you taking a shit. There's nothing special about your shit because everybody shits. We just go to the bathroom and we do it in private instead of making it into a media event. And the thing that bothers me about Apple Music and these other corporations is they don't market this stuff to white people and to Jewish people. They don't take leaders, people in the Jewish community, and elevate them to basically debase Jewish culture. They don't do that. They don't go to Arab communities and Asian communities and find the most ridiculous Asian ever to make Asian people look as stupid as possible. That's specifically reserved for Black people. That is a modern manifestation of a minstrel show. And so if you ever wonder, if you're a Black woman, you go to work and you wonder why white guys think that you are a super freak or that you want to sell some WAP or that you want to be a hoe like Cardi B or whatever, it's because that's what they've been seeing in media. And they're like, oh, this is what Black people do because we don't do that in our family, but apparently that's what Black women do. Black women are a pack of hoes, right? So I think the same thing. So Cardi, I'm not really complaining about Cardi because Cardi is going to be who Cardi wants to be. What I'm talking about is this. When you're Apple Music and you have 1,000 rappers to look at, 1,000 different rappers you can pick, you specifically pick out certain artists because they fit your image of what a Black person is supposed to be and supposed to do. And then you make that person into the most powerful Black person in America. And then they've got all these followers because so many people don't know who they are. They look to entertainment to learn who they are, which is very unfortunate, but it happens. And you can go to that person and use that person to get political power. Malcolm X talked about this. He talked about the use of clowns and entertainers as so-called leaders in the Black community. He said that is a strategic process to elevate certain people and make them look like leaders so that people will follow them so they can get Black votes for cheap. If you are an intelligent intelligent, if you ever want to make a white man run, don't pull out a gun. If you ever want to make white people run, don't pull out a gun. Don't try to rob them. Just walk up and tell them how intelligent you are. Show them how smart you are, and they'll go running for the hills, especially these politicians. They're like, oh shit, an intelligent black man coming. Oh my God, honey, grab your purse. Get the gun, baby. Get in the car. Go. Right? Like they will run away when they see intelligent black people coming. They see Dr. Cornel West or people like that coming up asking Dr. Claude Anderson coming after the car. Oh, it's like a horror movie. Like, oh God, they're gonna ask us questions. They're gonna call us on our bullshit. Oh my God, right? So the biggest nightmare that they have, the biggest nightmare on earth that they have right now, their biggest fear right now. And this is the thing that makes me really, I just have to say this publicly, that if I come up missing or they tell you that I committed suicide with a heroin needle in my arm, I need y'all to know right now that that's not true. That's really not what happened. I promise you. Like, I need y'all to go avenge my death, and I need you to carry on the legacy because believe me, the biggest, scariest thing that's happening for them right now is that black people are waking up. Black intelligence is being pushed to the forefront of the conversation. They don't really want people like Dr. Claude Anderson talking to Charlemagne the God, which has occurred because Charlemagne got introduced to Powernomics. And the thing about Black power and Black truth is that once you get a taste, you can't go back. Once you go Black, you can't go back. Black intelligence is more powerful than the black man's penis. And y'all know how wonderful that can be. The ladies talk about it all the time, right? So you know, white girls go black and they can't go back. Well, black people, once you go black with black intelligence, you can't go back. So when Charlemagne the God is talking to Dr. Claude Anderson, then Dr. Claude Anderson goes on to the Breakfast Club and he's spreading the Powernomics message to millions of people. That's scary as hell for them. When they see, they're like, oh shit, wait. Dr. Boyce is interviewing the rapper Ice Cube. And then I text Cube, hey man, you check out Powernomics? You should take a look at this, man. And then Cube texts me back like, oh, this is fire, right? I'm not telling you too much of personal business, but that is a nightmare for them. That is very scary for them. When Snoop Dogg shouts out Minister Louis Farrakhan, they're like, whoa, the Negroes are getting out of control. What are we gonna do now? Right? So I think the process has already begun. I think the wave has already started. I think that there's nothing they can do to stop it. So really all this screaming and hollering that I'm doing about this is honestly not even that big of a deal. I didn't even need to do this because I already see what's already going down. I just wonder at what point they're going to get the memo. Because sometimes when you lost the game, you refuse to accept the fact that you lost. You refuse to acknowledge the obvious, right? They refuse to acknowledge that black people have gotten smarter. They refuse to understand that black people are no longer going for the okie doke. And I believe that the reason they refuse to understand it is because they're living in the bubble of white ignorance / white racism / white supremacy. That ignorance, white supremacist bubble creates an arrogance bubble. So Joe Biden, mind you, Joe Biden is 78 years old. That means that man was born in what, 1942 or something, right? So Joe Biden's frame of reference for black people is not 2020. His frame of reference is 1972 or 1965. Joe Biden can't visualize the black community that's being built right there in front of his eyes. So he ain't gonna see it. He ain't going to see it. Him and Hillary Clinton and others are going to go into these interviews, and because their handlers will say, well, black people all listen to this person, so you should interview with that person. And they're just following the protocol. They don't really know. They're leaning on their advisors. Well, who are their advisors? Well, look around Joe Biden. Does he have, a person like a Boyce Watkins that's advising him, that's in his ear saying, man, you better pay attention, bro, because black people are waking up? No, he doesn't have people like me, right? Masculine black males are not invited into those spaces, right? He's got a guy from the LGBT community. He's got Simone Sanders, that big linebacker that works for him. She's a woman, but she could probably play for the Buffalo Bills, and because she tackles very well. I don't know if y'all saw that, but somebody tried to come after Biden, and it was like slow motion, like, no! She tried to save Master, and she runs and dives and grabs the man and tackles him. I mean, it was really fascinating to watch. Well, Simone Sanders ain't gonna be the one to tell Joe Biden what's really going on in the community, because she does not have her ear to the streets. She lives in an idealistic white liberal fantasy world where they believe they have the moral and intellectual authority to tell black people what to do. She lives in a world where she believes that she can just walk around and say stupid things like, well, these black men are just dumb. These black men are doing whatever. When really deep down, I think she's competing with us. She's competing with us, right? We all want access to the black woman's vagina. So she's competing with the males, right? That's really what it is. Honestly, that's what I see. So she doesn't like the men. She doesn't like black men. And also, she's, you know, I don't know what school she went to. Maybe she went to some liberal arts school where white people taught her, you know, about all these idealistic ideas that black people don't relate to, because black people in our core actually are inherently, we're pretty conservative people. So what my point is that the advisors around a Joe Biden or even around a Kamala Harris are not the ones who are going to inform them of what's going on. So they're going to get broadsided. They're going to get broadsided and surprised. I think the big wake-up call, one of the big wake-up calls for them, they might need 3 or 4 wake-up calls, because sometimes you got to slap people 10 times to wake them up out of racism. The big wake-up call might be if they don't win this next election. If they lose this next election, they're going to go back and say, wait, what happened? What the hell? Wait, how did this happen? Right? It'll be like when Trump won that other election, right? Remember, all the feminists showed up at the rally expecting to party all night. They really showed up thinking, we got this, woo, we won. Let me tell you why they thought they won and they really hadn't won. The reason they thought they'd won and they hadn't is because liberals control the media. They control the media. And they control and Hollywood. Hollywood is very liberal. So all the big celebrities with the biggest megaphones were going on the biggest networks saying, we won, we got this, we're gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. So people fell into that. What they didn't understand is that is the nature of conservative people. I know liberals and I know conservatives. My liberal friends are the loud ones. They're the ones who will correct you, who will accuse you of being toxic masculinity, homophobia, hetero supremacy, whatever. They love to use those buzz terms to try to attack people and constantly correct people because they went to Yale University or something and Yale told them that they're right and the rest of the world is wrong. So they spend their whole lives trying to correct other people because they see that as social justice, where really, unfortunately, it becomes a type of fascism and really denying other people their freedom of speech and expression. But they don't see it that way because they're helping you and making you better by telling you what to do and shaming you every chance they get. But then my conservative friends are typically pretty quiet. They're not engaged in a lot of activism because they're doing stuff like, taking care of their kids, protecting their wives and children or their spouses. They are going to work every day, trying to make a living for their family. They're just doing basic they're in their neighborhood association. They're doing things that are making their lives better. They're handling their business, right? And so what happens though is that these people are also watching the news and they're seeing all this stuff that's happening and they're like, shit, what's going on? Like, oh my God, these protesters, they're burning down buildings now? Oh, I don't want them to burn. They burned down my business. I'm gonna put a bullet in their ass, right? Seriously, that's why. Seriously, if I had a shop, and I don't care if you Black Lives Matter or if you're far right, you show up and you throw a brick through my window, I'm putting that bullet in your ass. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to deal with you. I'm not letting you tear down my business because you mad that day, or you mad because you didn't do the work to build something for yourself or for your family. I'm not letting you do that. So my point is to say that they missed the mark because they're not listening to people. That's why they missed the mark. They missed the mark because they're not listening to Black people. And they're not listening to people who disagree with them. They're living in these bubbles and in these vacuums. And in their bubble, everything they say is right. Everything they say gets an amen or whatever. And anybody who disagrees is going to be labeled and named and attacked and shamed or whatever. And I think that's just wrong. I really do. I mean, so if you go deeper, if you talk about Cardi B and Candace Owens, we talked about Cardi B. I would say with Candace Owens would actually be a person I'd listen to a lot more if she were politically independent. I can't listen to her as a Republican because I'm not trying to be a Republican. I'm not trying to be a Trump supporter. I think with all the talk that they do about what the Democrats are doing wrong, they have to deliver something. And I did send that text. When I did talk to Kanye, I did text him and said, okay, Trump and everybody else are doing all this talking about what the Democrats are doing wrong. Who's going to put some money on the table? Who's going to get that money to the streets? Who's going to actually do something that's truly going to impact the Black community where we can see it, I can talk about it, and I can mention it? Whoever does that first wins. Whoever does that first wins. So I think the problem is everybody's doing a lot of talking. And that's the big issue that you have. The Trump people are just talking. I mean, if you really process this, I will say this. I don't really see a lot of areas where the Trump administration is specifically going after Black people. I see where Trump is probably a racist and a white supremacist, but I've known that for 30 years. There are a million Donald Trumps in the world. Racist old white men aren't going to go away. Joe Biden is an old racist white man. So that doesn't affect me very much. I don't really care. I don't need white people to like me, right? But I think that if you really look at it though, you know, if he talks about Mexicans not coming across the border illegally, that doesn't affect me. I'm not Mexican. I'm not trying to break across the border. I personally think that there should be border protections. That does not make a person racist. That just means that they think that certain people should not be allowed to violate federal law because Black people are not allowed to violate federal law. Black people are in prison under the Bill Clinton, Joe Biden crime bill to this day because they violated federal law. How in the hell can you tell me that again, this is that subtle way when they talk about microaggressions and minute racism. But here's an example of that kind of microaggression racism. It's like, yeah, we know we locked up 100,000 Black people for violating federal law, but y'all don't mean shit. So we need y'all to still be stupid enough to support us as we allow a bunch of people coming across the border to violate federal law. Are you fucking kidding me? Who in the hell is stupid enough to think that this makes any sense at all? It makes no sense to me at all. I do not get that. Now, if you say, hey, in order for you to get your support on us letting every person that wants to come across the border violate federal law, in order to get your support for that, then we're going to go back and we're going to release 50,000, 100,000 Black men and women who were also locked up for violating federal law in the 1990s on nonviolent drug offenses. We're going to get all of them out. We're not going to get one or two out. That's symbolism. Trump uses symbolism, right? You saw he released one Black lady and her story was really sad and they made it into a big deal. But honestly, I was happy for her, but I did not care because that's one person. When I see one person, I think of the thousands that are behind that person. I think most people just can't see things that way. They fall for the symbolism and the emotionality. But it's like if I see one roach in my house and I kill it, I don't think that means I've solved the roach problem in my house. In fact, the roach problem isn't ending, it's probably just beginning. If I see one roach in my house and I am intelligent, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say, where the hell did these bugs come from, right? Or flies, that's another thing. You guys have seen me swatting flies in the house. I have killed so many flies in my office, it's ridiculous. And the fly problem didn't go away until I said, where are these flies coming from and how do we kill them all? So when I see one person get released by Biden or one person that gets released by Trump, and then they parade it as this big deal, like, ooh, we're making criminal justice reform. We released one Negro, so that changes everything. I'm sitting here like, are you kidding me? Is the world that stupid? I swear, every day I wake up in the twilight zone because I'm like, are we that dumb that we really think that that's really making progress? That's symbolism, man. Symbolism. So I'm going to say this. Look, I know people are stuck on their values and their views. I mean, I'm not telling you, if you love Biden, go vote for Biden. I don't care. Just don't tell me what to do. If you love Trump, go vote for Trump. Just don't tell me what to do. I'm not judging your decision at all. And I told you, I refuse to lose any friends over Biden and Trump. So if you're my friend and you vote in a way that is inconsistent with me, then go do it. Go do it. Just know we're going to be friends because that shit does not matter to me. I don't believe it's going to make a difference in the things that matter for the Black community. It may be important to you because you're caught up in that narrative. You're caught up in the narrative that says, if we get Trump out of office, that's going to make the world better, or another 4 years of Trump and we're going to die. I literally talked to somebody who told me, I swear to God, she said that Trump being in office means we're going to be put in concentration camps. She literally said that Trump is going to put us in concentration camps. And I had to just say, okay, what concentration camps has he built so far? Like, where are these concentration camps that Black people are being shoved into by the millions? Like, I haven't seen them. Just tell me. Like, I'm not defending Trump. I'm trying to just ask you a simple question. Give me evidence that Trump is putting people in, or planning to put black people in concentration camps. Maybe he didn't want to do any concentration camps his first term. He said, I'm gonna save it to my second term. That's when I'm gonna go build all the concentration camps and get all these black people in there. I just haven't seen it, right? And I said, really, and if you really want to talk about concentration camps, I think that American prisons are the closest thing that we have to concentration camps. And if you go back and you read the Biden-Clinton crime bill in the 90s, they actually put billions of dollars into building concentration camps. And they actually put billions of dollars in hiring 100,000 police to run the streets, to put us into concentration camps. And it worked. They dismantled millions of black families this way. And so maybe we can also talk about that. Well, of course, the reaction, it didn't get a good reaction. It was anger, right? Anger. Anger is the reaction people tend to have when they can't really respond with logic. Anger is what people do when you call them on their bullshit. Anger is what people have when they can't really come back at you with any facts or data, because you're pushing them a little bit. You're saying this just isn't true, right? And it causes like all this chaos. So first reaction is, shut up. You need to shut up, right? Pay attention. Joe Biden's little flunky, that big linebacker I told you about, Simone Sanders. She's a woman, but like I said, she tackles pretty well. She could probably make the Chicago Bears. Simone Sanders. One of the biggest things that Simone Sanders said that I remember when she referenced black men, is she didn't reference black men with any type of respect. She basically said black men need to shut up, right? That's what she said. Howard Dean, who's he used to be the head of the Democratic National Convention. I think he tweeted at Tariq Nasheed, and he said, shut the fuck up, right? So when somebody says, shut up, what they're kind of saying is, I don't want to hear what you have to say because what you're saying is not important and it does not fit my agenda. Have you ever, remember when you were a kid, anybody grow up as a kid, argue with your mama? You ever argue with your mama or with your daddy, and they entertain you a little bit, like they'll argue with you for a while, and then they don't expect it. You start winning the argument, like you actually make a good point, and it's forcing them to change their mind. Well, what if they're not in the mood to hear your argument? What do? They say, shut up. They say, be quiet. Look, because I said so, right? That is the ultimate trump card. That is a power play that you use when you ain't got no other options. When you don't have anything else to lean on, when mama knows that you've explained every reason why it's still okay to stop at McDonald's, because no, you actually do. Actually, church don't start till 6:30. Oh, you say you ain't got enough money? Well, actually, there's $10 right here in the glove compartment, right? Oh, well, it's right on the way. No, I know it's not out of the way, mama. It's right on the way to church. There's a McDonald's on 3rd Street. You didn't know that, right? You made every argument, but really at the end of the day, your mama just don't want to stop, right? And you get on her nerves and she says, shut up. And then you say, well, why? And she says, because I said so, right? Because I said so that's powernomics in action, right? When we talk about powernomics, power is defined in Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson as the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. You see, black people don't really, as a collective, understand power. We understand permission, getting permission slips from powerful people, right? So power means that I can say, because I said so, because I've got the power. At the end of the day, powerful people decide what the rules are going to be. At the end of the day, powerful people decide what's right, what's wrong. Powerful people decide what's true and what's not. And so with the Democratic Party, you have a scenario where they are accustomed to having power. And because they have power, then when you come up and you say, but what about this? Or you haven't done this for the black community, or what about that? Or why should we give you our vote when you're not doing anything for us, right? They come in and eventually first they try to argue with you for a while. Then when they realize that you're smarter than the average bear, like they're intelligent, like Joe Biden would never have a conversation with a guy like me. You know, I'd eat his ass up. He's not only old and stupid and racist, he's also senile, right? So I would eat him up, right? So when they realize that they can't hang with you in terms of logical argument, they just say, because I said so. Or they say, shut up. Or they say, if you don't vote for me, well, you ain't black, right? They start going into the space of illogical, emotional ranting, right? So at the end of the day, what I would just say is that Candace Owens is right about Cardi B. That was a BS interview. It was nothing but pandering. That's what it is, right? But you can come back at Candace Owens and say, you know, a lot of your credibility is killed because A, we know that everything leads back to Daddy Trump. So this is a plantation fight, right? Each person is fighting for their master. These are two black women that I will just say are intelligent black women. Cardi's intelligent in her own way. She's got street smart. She's got pussy smarts, right? She's got hip hop smart. Maybe she's smart about selling that WAP. She made more money as a stripper than almost every other stripper. She built a brand as a stripper. So in that space, Cardi B is like an Albert Einstein for hoes, right? She's like the Albert Einstein for like women that want to sell WAP in the club, right? So God bless her for that. Candace Owens is intelligent as a conservative, as a black conservative who knows how to run the game, and she's selling a different kind of WAP, right? She's not necessarily giving the WAP, but she's basically selling herself to the Republican Party. And so she's representing Trump. She's brilliant in the way she's built her career, but at the end of the day, these two people are basically employees. That's my point. They're basically employees. They're not what I believe black people need to be, which is free sovereign entities that can do what's best for your own community, despite the opposition of others. These two individuals are popular, but some would argue that they really have no power, right? I believe power, black power, should come from an authentic source. Power, it's like if I have something plugged into the wall and it charges my laptop, I might say that electrical outlet, this device right here that I plug my laptop into, has a lot of power. Right? So I'm looking at this little extension cord and I'm like, this thing has a lot of power. It's powering up my whole laptop. Well, somebody would say, no, actually, this extension cord has no power. This extension cord is getting its power from another place. So then I go back and I look at where it's plugged in the wall and I say, oh, it's plugged into this outlet. Oh, this outlet has a lot of power. This outlet has power. Oh, so this is really cool, right? But the outlet has no power. Right? Because the power is coming from another source that's further back, right? So the laptop is powered up, but it has no power. The extension cord is powered up, but it has no power. The socket in the wall is powered up, but it doesn't have any power. All these things that appear to be powerful have a source of power. So you got to go real deep, and then you go deeper and deeper, and then you find out, oh, I get it. The electric company is powering powering the circuit breaker, which is powering the outlet in the wall, which is powering the extension cord, which is powering the laptop. So all these things, none of these things have any authentic or real power. It's all coming from an original source. So similarly, Cardi B, to me, doesn't have a lot of power. Cardi B has the power that's invested in her from her political allies, the Joe Bidens of the world. She has power invested in her by big white racist corporations that want to market WAP to children, right? She has the power maybe that comes from maybe the people that believe in that culture and want to support her in molesting children's minds with sexual thoughts at an early age, right? Candace Owens is even worse in the sense that she has no real power. Her power, when she gets up and decides what she wants to say that day, Candace Owens cannot say truly what she wants to say. She can only say what she wants to say to the extent that it lies within the boundaries of what the Trump administration will allow. So if Candace Owens ever decided to go off the ranch and say, the Republicans got to do better, or Trump ain't right, or here's some things I don't like about the Trump administration, you would see her instantly canceled. She would be blanked out, just like Omarosa. That's what Trump did with Omarosa. If you remember, Omarosa was that lady from the reality show. I even wonder if they had a romantic relationship. I think Trump is so funny. Trump is, Trump likes those black women, right? He likes those pretty black women, and so next thing you know, Omarosa's gone, and Omarosa's sitting outside of the White House now, bitching and screaming, trying to get into the White House and fighting with the security guards. I don't know if y'all remember that. And then she's talking about, I'm gonna write a tell-all book, right? That's because somebody pulled the plug on her power and she's pissed. She's absolutely pissed. So a lot of people that appear to be powerful people are actually puppets. And at the end of the day, if you want to understand power, you must always ask yourself, who's the puppet master, right? Where's this source of power? So when I visualize power for the Black community, I visualize that power coming from an authentic source. Black people are used to being the extension cord. I want us to be the electric company. I don't want us to be the laptop that powers up because it's plugged into the wall. I want us to be the actual source of that power, where we can decide based on our norms and values what makes sense and what doesn't, based on what we talk about here as a B1 hashtag B1 philosophy, Black first. That's where the power needs to come from. So I don't really care what Omarosa has to say. We know that her power source is Trump. She's Trump all day. Or not Omarosa, I'm sorry, Candace Owens. They're the same person. I get them mixed up. I don't care what Cardi B has to say, because Cardi B is operating in a box where she can't really say what needs to be said. Cardi B is basically saying whatever they're telling her to say, because I think she's trying to avoid getting popped on those RICO charges that she was facing back in New York. I think that Black people at the end of the day need our own power source so we can pursue our agenda despite the opposition of others, and have the ability to do what's best for us and to put ourselves first for a change. People are having a hard time with this idea because they're used to you being last. They're used to you being in the back of the bus. They're used to you taking care of everybody except your own. They're used to you going back to slavery, breastfeeding the white man's babies before you breastfed your own. You're used to taking care of other people before you take care of yourself because you don't love yourself. So at the end of the day, my goal, my belief, my argument for you is, and this is what I'm telling you guys to do, is, and I'm not even telling you to do anything that I tell you to do. If you think that what I'm saying is bullshit, then by all means, throw it in the garbage. I'm just telling you to love yourself. That's it. I'm telling you to love yourself and take care of yourself and to represent yourself and stand up for yourself. And if you love Black people, if you care about the community, if you care about things that are not on the grid or on the radar screen, like if you live in the South Side of Chicago and you're tired of seeing babies getting shot up in the street, then represent that. Right? Don't just talk about police brutality just because they're telling you that you have permission to talk about police brutality right now. No, you have permission to talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, whatever matters to you. If you want your kids to have a better education, then represent that. If you want to build wealth, then represent that. If you care about the environment, represent that. I'm not telling you what to represent. I'm just telling you to make sure that your power and your influence and your efforts and energies come from an authentic place. They must come from inside. Like, one of the things I really liked, and it's really funny, when Ice Cube came on drboycetv.com the other day, one thing he mentioned that I knew that this was true. I just didn't know, because I haven't known Cube that long, but I've been a fan of his music for a long time. Is he talked about music, and he said, you shouldn't go look out in the world to find your music. You shouldn't look around and see what's popular and everything else and follow the trend. It's got to come from inside. It's got to come from inside, right? So, and I think that's why his music, and I said to him, I said, yeah, that makes sense, because a lot of your music was ahead of its time. It was just different. You said, fuck the police 30 years ago. Now people are looking back and saying, oh, they were right? Well, I think the same thing has to be true for you in your life. I really do. I think that what you do, what you believe in, how you vote, how you roll, how you operate, how you educate your kids, how you teach your family, how you live, should come from inside. It should come from you. You must be the ultimate power source, particularly in a world that is always hell-bent on guiding you in the wrong direction. You cannot get your power source from out there. You must get it from in here. When I was raised as a kid, my parents, I used to go to my parents. I don't know if anybody else had parents like this, but I would go to my parents. Like, I would go out and do something with my friends and get in trouble, right? Like, one time I was 10 and I went to the store and one of my friends stole some candy. And then his mama found out, and it just kind of became this whole big deal. And here was what was crazy. This is why he ended up in jail. He basically went to his mama and told a lie, and his mama believed the lie, and his mama didn't punish him at all, even though it was clear that he stole that candy, right? Well, my mama put me on punishment. I got grounded for weeks. And I even got a whooping, right? I grew up in an era where whoopings were okay. They weren't seen as traumatized. And I think there's better ways to raise your kids, but I did get whoopings and I'm okay. It didn't kill me, right? But anyway, so I remember just saying, like, come on, mama, that ain't right. Like, he didn't even get punished. Like, we were in the same place, and his mama let him off punishment. And you know what my mother said and my father said? They said, we don't give a damn how they raise their kids. We don't care what they're doing with their children. This is the way the rules are going to be in this house. This is how we're going to do things here, right? So our rules, our values came from an internal place. Like, that came from us. It didn't come from the world. They weren't looking down the street to see what the Joneses were doing with their kids. They just based their measuring stick on what they felt was right and what they felt was wrong and what they felt was good and bad for their children. And that's how they raised us. So as a result, this is really me giving a shout out and encouragement to the parents who march to the beat of a different drummer. Some of y'all may be going through what my parents went through. My mother went through this really bad, where a lot of parents were like, oh, you're too hard on your kids, or why'd you keep them on punishment? That ain't right, right? They would kind of beat up on that. Well, let me tell you a little secret. A lot of my friends I grew up with went to prison. I'm talking about kids I hung out with like every single weekend. Went to prison. Got hooked on drugs, ended up unemployed, struggling, can't do nothing right, and ended up dead. And in fact, with my brother, sister, and myself, my brother went to an Ivy League school. He's a millionaire. He runs his own business. My sister is a medical doctor, and I have a PhD. I was the only black man in the country to get a PhD in finance during the year 2002. There's no other African American I've met anywhere who got a PhD in finance during the year 2002. That was really, really hard to do. You don't get results like that by doing what the fuck everybody else is doing. That's my point. You know, I had no friends who did things like that growing up because we were struggling, right? We lived in government subsidized housing. Like, we did know that when mama didn't get paid that week, that the refrigerator was going to be empty, right? I do know what it's like to have a roach crawl across your sandwich and you flick it off and keep eating because you're not really, or you blow on it and you think that that's going to get the roach feet off of your sandwich, right? I've seen all of that, right? And the only way we were able to overcome all of that was because we generated our values and our choices internally. I give a shout out to my parents. They were not perfect people on any level. Nobody is, but I give them a shout out for the fact that they trained us to think different and to do what we felt was right no matter what. And that's what you're seeing now. That's why I have no problem going against the grain. I have no problem saying things that are not popular. I have no problem going in the other direction from where everybody else is going, because I'm going to look at what you're doing and I'm going to decide within myself, does this make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not participating in none of that. You're not going to talk me out of that. It's not going to happen. So that's it. That's my 2 cents. I encourage all the free thinking black people out here, keep being free, keep being strong, keep being intelligent, because you will win. I guarantee it. You will win. And it won't be luck. Don't let anybody make you feel guilty for being successful. Like, oh, well, you were really blessed. Or, oh, you were really lucky. No, you didn't get lucky. You had courage. Have some damn courage, and that's how you're going to be successful. So I'm going to go, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. My phone is all messed up, so I got to go to the Verizon store. So hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net, not .com, drboycewatkins.net. Also, hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please do that. And thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And have a great day. I'll see you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.